The X-Men have faced everything: cosmic villains, interdimensional wars, and even battles against their own friends. But nothing could have prepared them for this. Storm is no longer just a powerful mutant. Now she is something much greater, and the X-Men are about to find out the hard way. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video, we're breaking down everything that happened in Part 3 of the X-Manhunt event, featuring an epic battle between the X-Men and Storm's new form. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The chapter opens with a narration that draws an interesting comparison. Thor of the Asgardians, Sango of the Orishas, Chak of the Ahau, Susanoo of the Amatsukami, and Zeus of the Olympians. All storm gods are fierce in battle, and Ororo Munro of Earth is no exception. This majestic display of her power is actually her preparation for war. Storm returns to her sanctuary in Atlanta, a place of peace and safety for everyone, especially in times of trial, including Japheth, a former X-Man better known as Maggot. But since the current moment is critical, when the war trumpets sound, this peaceful sanctuary transforms into a battleship of immense destructive power, simply known as the Thundercloud. They leave the city skies, and it looks like Storm is about to face an enormous challenge because, in addition to her imposing military citadel, the goddess herself decides to wear her brutal armor, fitting for her status as a legendary warrior. The story then shifts to a few hours before Ororo heads into battle against an unknown enemy. What pushed her to take on this challenge was a visit from the man who changed her life, Charles Xavier. Yes, the most wanted man on Earth came to meet Ororo, who explained that she had already contacted the Avengers. If conditions at Greymalkin prison are inhumane, Iron Man might be able to arrange his transfer to the Cube. It seems that the guards of this new prison are powerful enough to handle Avengers-level threats, so inmates are never forced to wear power-inhibiting collars. Ororo doesn't want to seem ungrateful. After all, for years, it was Charles who provided her with a home, clothes, and food, never asking for anything in return except that she shine. If she is a hero today and others became X-Men, it's all thanks to Charles. But now, Storm is a registered Avenger in numerous countries, home to billions of people who rely on her. If they find out she harbored the world's most wanted man, guilty of crimes against humanity, she will lose all her licenses and diplomatic immunity. Charles replies that the Ororo Munro he knew never needed legislation to save the innocent, and Ororo fires back that the Charles Xavier she knew was also not a war criminal or a fugitive. In the end, Charles reminds her that he wouldn't place such a heavy burden on her shoulders if it weren't for a good reason. He doesn't even need to use his powers to know that Ororo hasn't told the Avengers about his whereabouts. But the reason for that is that according to the Avengers database, 95% of fugitive mutants are killed during capture attempts, so it's very likely this will be their last meeting. Mutant resurrections have ended, and that's why she wants to know the real reason Charles came here. And Charles answers that he wants to bring back a bit of the old magic, the magic they lost when their dreams were shattered by harsh reality. That's why he intends to bring the dead back to life once more. Now we return to the present, where we see the thundercloud arriving in the skies over San Francisco. Inside the ship, ready for war, are Professor X, Maggot with his creatures, and of course, Storm in her stunning battle armor. They are certain that men wielding weapons designed to cause them unimaginable pain will be unleashed in this hunt. But those hunting Xavier knew him very well. After all, who better to make him truly suffer than his own family? Yes, at this moment it is revealed that their enemies are none other than the legendary X-Men. We've already seen Xavier face the uncanny X-Men, a group led by Rogue, and now we'll see the Professor take on the team led by Scott Summers. Cyclops tells Storm not to get involved, that the professor must have fed her some sob story to convince her to fight for a greater good. She knows better than anyone. That's what Charles does. He uses people as his tools. Cyclops and his team also argue that if they want any hope of peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants, they need to be just as responsible as humans are, and Charles Xavier is no exception. They need to take him back to Greymalkin prison. Storm replies that one day Scott himself will wish to be an exception, and when that day comes, Cyclops will thank the heavens that Aurora is who she is. And when that day arrives, Storm will risk her life for Cyclops too. But today, Charles Xavier is under her protection. So if Cyclops wants to take him, he's going to have to give it his best shot. With war declared, a brutal mega battle erupts between Earth's most powerful mutants. Cyclops quickly stands out, demonstrating his leadership skills. He orders Kid Omega to shield the team from Xavier's telepathy. Juggernaut is to handle Maggot. He and Psylocke will retrieve the professor and retreat, while Magic and Temper are to go all out and unleash hell on the goddess of the storm. However, despite the solid strategy, Storm laments that years of fighting alongside powerful allies, relying on strategies and facing weak opponents, have left the X-Men unprepared to face a goddess who has always stood by their side. She swiftly defeats Magic and Temper and intends to teach the X-Men that good intentions alone aren't enough to win a war. Juggernaut manages to pin down Maggot, but the climax of the battle unfolds when the focus shifts to Storm versus Cyclops. The two stand face to face, unleashing all their fury in a single blast of power, making it clear that this is a fight to the death. Scott holds nothing back to the point that his visor shatters and vaporizes, making it seem as though the battle has already been decided in favor of the X-Men's leader. However, something inside Storm tells her it's time to end this. She even calls Scott a child and says it's time for him to learn his lesson. That's when Storm undergoes a transformation, because for those who don't know, Eternity, the living embodiment of the universe, made Storm its avatar, granting her new cosmic powers. In this new form, Storm commends Scott for fighting bravely, then unleashes an immense energy blast that strikes Cyclops directly in the eyes. At that moment, Charles questions what he has done. He has practically condemned one of his beloved students to death while the X-Men struggle to believe what just happened. Indeed, Cyclops' frozen, lifeless body simply collapses to the ground, leading to a truly shocking moment. Juggernaut completely loses control and rips Maggot's arm off as if it were nothing. He threatens to beat Eternal Storm until she is nothing more than a bloody stain on the floor. But by now it's clear that they are not facing Aurora. They are facing Eternity, who has witnessed oblivion itself rip the hearts out of beings capable of collapsing stars. Compared to its sibling, everyone here is weak and insignificant, so much so that she summons mighty winds to prevent any mutant from getting close to her. She continues to display her incredible power. This time, she draws forth the essence of Aegon from within herself, a creature so fierce that even the Sorcerer Supreme could not defeat it. When Maggot consumes this essence, he undergoes a transformation and is completely healed, becoming Storm's Omega Maggot. Of course, Juggernaut refuses to give up so easily. He keeps resisting Storm's cosmic winds. After all, as he always says, nothing can stop the Juggernaut. Well, Eternal Storm decides to put that theory to the test, showing him what raw strength really means. She simply lifts the Titan into the air and drives 2 celestial spears into his shoulders. And as if that weren't enough, she delivers a brutal headbutt to Charles Xavier's half-brother, shattering his greatest defense, his mighty helmet, which protects his mind and head from psychic attacks. By the end of the battle, the X-Men mourn the devastating defeat they have suffered. Temper knows that what they faced wasn't truly Storm, and the good news is that Cyclops is still alive. He is being thawed out by the mutant. To wrap up this chapter, it is revealed that Beast managed to infiltrate Thundercloud's facilities during the battle. Psylocke uses her telepathic abilities to check if he has found the engine room to blow everything up. so that Eternity learns never to mess with the X-Men. But when Beast finally reaches the heart of Storm's warship, he discovers that the floating Citadel's power source is sustained by a celestial alien entity. Hank McCoy is left completely speechless. He doesn't answer Psylocke because, unfortunately, he has just been found by none other than Charles Xavier. And that's how the X-Men got a taste of Eternal Storm's true power. They thought they could stop her. But when a goddess decides to fight, not even Earth's most powerful mutants can escape her judgment. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button because it really helps. Subscribe to the channel for more epic geek content, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next adventure.